All right, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into something that's going to flip your world upside down. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, you're just not in control of your life? Like you're constantly chasing success, happiness, or just a little peace. But every time you think you've got it, it slips right through your fingers. Trust me, you're not alone. And I'm here to tell you something that might be a little hard to hear at first, but once you get it, it's going to change everything. The truth is, everything you think you know about control, about how to live your best life, is probably wrong. And the reason is simple. We've been looking in the wrong places. We've been trying to control things that are way outside our grasp, and it's been driving us crazy. But there's a secret that's been hidden in plain sight for centuries, something that could be the key to mastering your life. And it comes from one of the greatest minds in history, Marcus Aurelius. Now, if you're thinking, oh great, here comes a boring history lesson, hang tight. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just some old, dusty philosophy, it's a blueprint for living a life of true freedom, peace, and purpose, no matter what the world throws at you. And if you stick with me till the end, you'll see how this ancient wisdom is not only relevant today, but can actually be the secret weapon you need to finally take control of your destiny. Let's kick things off with a quote from Marcus Aurelius that's going to blow your mind. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. But do so with all your heart. Simple, right? But don't be fooled, this isn't just some feel-good mantra to put on your wall. This is a radical, life-changing challenge to embrace everything that happens to you, good, bad, and ugly, and to love it, to really own it, and to let it shape you into the best version of yourself. Think about this for a second. How often do we spend our lives fighting against what happens to us? We get mad when things don't go our way, we resist change, we hold grudges, we get stuck in the past. But what if, instead of all that, we just stopped? What if we could learn to not only accept what happens, but to actually love it, to see every twist and turn, every setback, and every challenge as exactly what we need in that moment to grow stronger, wiser, better? This, my friends, is the core of Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that Marcus Aurelius lived by. And here's the thing. It's not just about accepting your fate. It's about mastering your mind so completely that you become unshakable, no matter what life throws your way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, that sounds great. But how do I actually do that well? Let's take a look at how Marcus Aurelius applied this philosophy to his own life. And trust me, if anyone had a reason to complain, it was this guy. He wasn't just sitting around writing poetry, he was ruling an empire. And not just any empire, but Rome, during one of its most chaotic periods. Wars, plagues, betrayal, you name it, he dealt with it. And yet, in the midst of all this chaos, he found the time to write Meditations, a book that's become one of the most important works of philosophy ever written. Here's where it gets really interesting. Meditations wasn't written for us. It was never meant to be published or even shared. It was a private journal, a way for Marcus to keep his mind sharp, his spirit grounded, and his life aligned with the principles of Stoicism. And what did he write about? Not about how to win battles or conquer enemies, but about how to conquer himself, how to control his mind, his emotions, his reactions, because he knew that this was the only thing he could truly control. And that, my friends, is the dark secret behind Stoicism. It's not about controlling the world around you, it's about mastering the world within you. And when you do that, you become unstoppable. Let's break this down. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we have power over one thing and one thing only, our mind. Not over events, not over other people, not even over our circumstances, just our mind. And that might sound like a limitation, but it's actually the key to everything. When you stop trying to control what you can't and start mastering what you can, your thoughts, your reactions, your mindset, you unlock a level of freedom and power that's unmatched. I think about how many times you've gotten upset because something didn't go the way you wanted. Maybe someone criticized you, maybe you didn't get that job you were hoping for, or maybe you're just having a bad day. We've all been there. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that the only reason these things bother us is because we let them. We give them power over us by choosing to react with anger, frustration, or sadness. But what if we chose differently? What if we decided that no matter what happens, we're going to stay calm, stay focused, and keep moving forward? This is where the real magic of Stoicism comes in. It's not about denying your emotions or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about acknowledging those emotions, understanding them, and then deciding how you want to respond. It's about taking full responsibility for your mind and your life, and refusing to let anything outside of you dictate how you feel or how you act. Now, let's get real for a second. How many of you deal with criticism on a regular basis? Whether it's from your boss, your partner, your friends, or even that little voice inside your head that never seems to shut up. Marcus Aurelius had his fair share of haters. Being an emperor wasn't exactly a popularity contest, but he had a brilliant strategy for dealing with it. He reminds us that criticism only has power if we give it power. The words of others are just that, words. They don't define you, they don't control you, unless you allow them to. When someone criticizes you, you have two choices: let it eat you up inside, or use it as fuel to grow. Marcus Aurelius would choose the latter every time. And so should you. But hold on, it's not just about ignoring the haters. It's about understanding that their opinions don't matter unless you give them value. This doesn't mean you never listen to feedback, it means you take control over how you let it affect you. That's real power. So how do you actually do this? Here's a little exercise straight out of the Stoic playbook. Next time someone criticizes you, pause. Take a deep breath. Instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself, is there any truth to what they're saying? Can I learn something from this? If the answer is yes, then great, use it to improve. If the answer is no, then let it go. Don't give it another second of your time or energy. This is what Marcus Aurelius did. He didn't waste time worrying about what others thought of him. He focused on what he could control: his own thoughts, actions, and character. And in doing so, he became one of the most respected and admired figures in history. But it wasn't about fame or recognition for him. It was about living in alignment with his principles, about being the best version of himself, regardless of what anyone else thought. But let's go even deeper. How do you react when life throws you a curveball? Do you panic, get angry, or just shut down? Marcus Aurelius would tell you that this is the perfect moment to practice one of the most powerful Stoic principles: amor fati, the love of fate. This isn't just about accepting what happens, it's about embracing it, seeing every challenge as an opportunity to grow, to become better, stronger, wiser. Here's the thing, life is unpredictable. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. And that response is everything. When you embrace amor fati, you stop fighting against reality and start working with it. You see every obstacle as a stepping stone, every setback as a setup for a comeback. This mindset is what allowed Marcus Aurelius to remain calm and composed in the face of some of the toughest challenges imaginable. So, how can you start practicing amor fati in your own life? Here's a challenge for you. The next time you face something tough, whether it's a nasty comment, a setback, or even just a bad day, try to see it as an opportunity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me better? And then, instead of resisting or complaining, embrace it. Love it, even. Because this, my friends, is where true power lies. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, okay, that sounds good, but what about the really big stuff? The things that keep me up at night: fear, anxiety, even death. Marcus Aurelius didn't shy away from these topics. In fact, he tackled them head on, and his advice is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Let's talk about fear first. Fear is the real enemy, not the things we fear. It's the fear itself that twists us up inside, makes us lose sleep, keeps us from living fully. And here's the kicker. Most of what we fear never even happens. Marcus Aurelius believed that fear is like a shadow. It only exists when we give it attention. When we face it head on, it loses its power. So what does Marcus suggest? He tells us to understand our fears, to confront them, and then to let them go. He reminds us that death is a natural part of life, and that fearing it only robs us of the time we have. Instead of worrying about the end, he encourages us to focus on living fully, to embrace the present moment, and to make the most of the time we have. And it's not just about death. This philosophy applies to any fear: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Marcus Aurelius would tell you that these fears are just distractions, things that keep you from living your best life. The key is to face them, to understand that they're just thoughts, not reality, and then to move forward anyway. This is where it all comes together. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a philosopher in an ivory tower. He was a warrior, a leader, someone who lived through some of the toughest times imaginable. But he didn't just survive, he thrived. And you can too. The wisdom of Stoicism isn't about denying your emotions or becoming some kind of unfeeling robot. It's about mastering your inner world so that you can navigate the outer one with grace, courage, and yes, even joy. So, next time you're feeling overwhelmed, remember this: everything you knew about control, happiness, and peace of mind might just be wrong. The secret isn't in controlling your circumstances, it's in mastering yourself. And that's what Marcus Aurelius was all about. Now, here's a little homework for you. This week, try applying just one of these Stoic principles to your life. Maybe it's amor fati, or maybe it's taking control of how you react to criticism. Whatever it is, give it a shot and see what happens. You might just discover that the secret to controlling your destiny was within you all along. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one area of your life where you feel like you need more control? Drop it in the comments and let's start a conversation. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and remember, you've got the power.